There is something modern life has quietly taken from us. Something that previous generations understood because they had no choice but to experience it. Waiting. Today, waiting feels almost unbearable. A slow internet connection frustrates us. A delayed message makes us wonder what is wrong. A long line feels like wasted time. A few seconds of silence in a conversation feels uncomfortable. We have built a world where almost everything is available immediately. Information, entertainment, communication, delivery, answers. And while convenience has improved many parts of life, it has changed something inside us. We have become less comfortable with the process of becoming. We want the result without the waiting, the reward without the journey, the transformation without the time. But life has always worked differently. The things that matter most are rarely instant. A tree does not become tall overnight. A friendship does not become deep after one conversation. A skill does not become natural after one attempt. Trust does not appear in a moment. Meaning does not develop instantly. Everything valuable requires time. Yet many people struggle with this because we live in a world that constantly tells us speed is everything. Faster, quicker, immediately. But some things cannot be rushed without losing what makes them valuable. Imagine planting a seed. Every day you dig it up to check if it is growing. You water it. You inspect it. You become impatient. Eventually, you damage the very thing you were trying to help. Growth requires something that feels uncomfortable. Trust. The ability to care for something without constantly demanding proof that it is working. This applies to almost everything. Relationships, learning, healing, creativity, personal change. The hardest part of many journeys is not the work itself. It is accepting that the results are not always visible while the work is happening. A person can be improving for months before anyone notices. A person can be changing internally long before their external life reflects it. A person can be moving forward while feeling like they are standing still. This is why patience matters. Because not all progress announces itself. Some of the most important changes happen quietly. A tree grows roots before it grows branches. A building creates foundations before it reaches the sky. The invisible work comes before the visible result. But humans often judge progress only by what they can see. If there is no immediate evidence, they assume nothing is happening. This creates unnecessary frustration. People quit too early. They abandon ideas too soon. They walk away from opportunities because the results did not arrive according to their preferred timeline. But nature does not operate on human impatience. A season cannot be rushed. Winter does not become spring because we are tired of the cold. A sunrise does not arrive faster because we want morning. Some things happen when they are ready. And learning to accept that is one of the most valuable lessons a person can develop. Patience is not doing nothing. That is a common misunderstanding. Patience is not passivity. It is not laziness. It is not a lack of ambition. Patience is the ability to continue caring about something without needing constant reassurance. It is staying committed while the outcome is still uncertain. It is trusting the process without needing every answer immediately. Think about a musician learning an instrument. At the beginning, every mistake feels obvious. Every failure feels frustrating. Progress feels invisible. But something is happening. The brain is adapting. The hands are learning. The connection between thought and action is improving. The person may not feel different day to day, but months later they look back and realize something changed. That is how many meaningful things work. The difference is rarely created in one dramatic moment. It is created through time. But patience is difficult because uncertainty creates discomfort. Human beings naturally want control. We want guarantees. We want to know that our effort will pay off. We want confirmation that we are on the right path. But life rarely gives complete certainty. Sometimes you have to move forward without knowing exactly when the outcome will arrive. This is where patience becomes powerful. It teaches you to exist in the space between effort and result. That space is where many people struggle, because the middle is rarely exciting. The beginning has energy. The ending has reward. But the middle requires trust. The middle is where things are being built. The middle is where many people quit. Think about a book. The first chapter introduces the story. The final chapter reveals the conclusion. But the entire meaning comes from everything in between. The middle chapters are where characters develop, where challenges appear, where the story becomes interesting. Life works the same way. The middle is not a problem to escape. It is where the story happens. Another reason patience has become difficult is comparison. We constantly see other people's results. We see the finished product, the achievement, the announcement, the celebration, but we rarely see the years before it. We compare our beginning to someone else's chapter 20. We become frustrated because our timeline does not match theirs. But every person is living through a different process. Different circumstances, different opportunities, different challenges. A flower does not look at another flower and feel behind because it blooms at a different time. Yet humans constantly do this. We judge ourselves according to timelines that were never designed for us. Patience allows you to respect your own process. Not because everything will happen exactly as you hope. Life does not work that way. But because rushing rarely creates better outcomes. A rushed decision, a rushed relationship, a rushed reaction, a rushed commitment often creates problems that take even longer to solve. Speed feels productive, but sometimes slowing down is the wiser choice. There is wisdom in allowing things to develop properly. A good meal takes time. A strong relationship takes time. A meaningful conversation takes time. A thoughtful decision takes time. The things we value most often require us to wait. This is not an inconvenience. It is part of their value. Imagine if everything important happened instantly. If every relationship became deep immediately. If every dream became reality overnight. If every question was answered instantly. Would we appreciate these things the same way? Part of meaning comes from the journey towards something. The waiting creates anticipation. The challenges create appreciation. The time creates depth. Patience allows experiences to become richer. There is another important lesson. Patience changes how you experience difficulty. Without patience, every obstacle feels like a sign to stop. Every delay feels like failure. Every setback feels permanent. But with patience, challenges become part of the process. A difficult season is no longer proof that something is wrong. It becomes something you are moving through. This does not mean accepting everything. It does not mean staying in situations that harm you. Patience is not ignoring reality. It is responding thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. It is giving yourself enough space to understand before deciding. Many mistakes happen because people act from urgency. They make permanent choices based on temporary emotions. They close doors too quickly. They give up during moments that simply required more time. Sometimes the answer is not a different direction. Sometimes the answer is more patience. There is a quiet confidence that comes from no longer needing everything immediately. You become calmer. You become more thoughtful. You stop chasing every distraction. You stop measuring every moment by visible results. You begin appreciating the process itself. And that changes everything. Because life is mostly process. The destination is only a small part. Most of your existence happens while you are waiting. Waiting for the next chapter. Waiting for understanding. Waiting for opportunities. Waiting for things to unfold. If you spend your entire life frustrated by waiting, you miss the life happening during it. The morning before the achievement. The conversations before the outcome. The experiences before the destination. The journey is not something separate from life. The journey is life. So perhaps the question is not, how do I make everything happen faster? Perhaps the better question is, how do I become more comfortable allowing things to unfold? Because some things cannot be forced. Sometimes the answer is not a different direction. Sometimes the answer is more patience. Some things need time to become what they are meant to become. A person who understands this is not falling behind. They are simply respecting the natural pace of growth. The world may continue demanding speed, but you do not have to let urgency control every decision. You can slow down. You can allow things to develop. You can trust that invisible progress is still progress. Because the greatest things in life are rarely created instantly. They are built quietly, gradually, patiently, over time. And one day, you look back and realize the thing you thought was taking too long was actually becoming something much deeper than you imagined. The seed was growing. The roots were forming. The foundation was strengthening. You simply could not see it yet. And maybe that is the lesson patience teaches us. Not everything valuable arrives quickly. Some things arrive when they are ready. And our job is not to force the timing. Our job is to keep showing up and allow life to unfold.